Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again. I know I took a little while to get back, but I'm back on, and welcome back to Marvel vs. DC month on my channel. This time we're doing Fantastic Four, 1994, versus Return of the Swamp Thing from the 1980s. I think it was like 88 or something like that. Let me check. It's a movie from the 1980s starring, whatchamacallit, what's her name? Damn it, I'm forgetting. Heather Locklear. Yeah, this is her first starring role among many in a film. So yeah, these movies came out at different times, and I know the Fantastic Four movie. This is the unofficially released Fantastic Four movie. How did I see it? Well, they have it on YouTube, so I was able to watch it. And let's see which one is better, shall we? Yeah, they're both pretty campy. Yeah, 1989, so it's close enough. Which one? Let's start with the cast of characters. On the left side, you have Fantastic Four. You know, the Thing, Human Torch, the Invisible Woman, and Reed Richards, aka Mister Fantastic, versus the Swamp Thing. Marvel probably gets this one only by default because the Fantastic Four, they're a family in this movie, even though the movie's very cheesy. But there's more. They have more to do. The Swamp Thing is pretty cool, but he doesn't have much of a character. He just lives in the swamp, beats up bad guys, and falls in love with a human. That's pretty much it. He doesn't have much depth to him. Not in that movie, because Jim Wynorski directed that sequel. The first one was in 1982, so this was 7 years later. But yeah, I would say the characters of the Fantastic Four, the costumes are definitely more better, and they have a budget. Even though we'll get to that later. And but I will say this about Return of the Swamp Thing: it was released. DC didn't act like it never happened. It got a Blu-ray release, so an official Blu-ray release. So, but Marvel gets that point. Writing, ooh boy, yeah, this is one that might be a tie or a draw. I don't know. First, you have the Return of the Fantastic Four movie from '94. It's very campy. It's very tongue in cheek. The characters are kind of like they're not really jokey. They're like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're just like kind of flat. I will say this: even though the writing is ridiculous in Return of the Swamp Thing, it gets my vote because the Swamp Thing kicks a lot of ass in the movie, and also the villains in the movie are so over the top. The like the henchmen with the guns and the I think is a biker gang. They're so over the top. It's fun to watch. Like Wynorski directed the film. Did he write it? No. You have Neil Cuthbert and Grant Morris, and I think the writing's better. Plus, it's more fun to watch when it comes to the writing because it's ridiculous, and so was the first movie, and it's not slow like the first film was. As soon as the Swamp Thing shows up and Heather Locklear sees him, she's not even that scared of him because she's like, "What are you?" And he's like, Sarah Douglas is also in the movie too. She was from Superman and Superman 2. She was what was her face? Ursa. And yeah, it's just a better written movie. Like it's ridiculous, but it has a higher rating on IMDb for a reason because the Fantastic Four from 1994, the writing is awful. Like it's it's like just so stupid, and Doctor Doom is also over the top, but that's only because he's Marvel didn't know how to do live action movies at that time. Now they pull it off easily. Okay, next is the action. Hmm. Return of the Swamp Thing, because he pretty much like cleans house and beats up guys and throws things at them, and he's pretty badass. I'll say that. The Swamp Thing, when he's in the action scenes, it's well shot. The action in the Fantastic Four movie, there's barely any action, and when it's there, it's really slow. And when Johnny Storm, well, I'll get to that when I get to visuals. But I don't remember the action too much in the 1994 movie. It could have been good, but it needed a bigger budget, better writing, and it also needed a I don't know a witty script. It needed a witty, a sense of humor and personality like the MCU. Because in the MCU, the Fantastic Four can't be bland and forgettable. And I don't want Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. That's just fan comedy. Don't you know A Quiet Place 2 has not come out yet? And they're probably going to want to do a third one. So I don't want them. But the ones here, the actors are fine in the Fantastic Four. They're just not the greatest actors. I mean, uh, I just prefer the action is better in Return of the Swamp Thing. I remember it more. There was more of it, and yeah, other than those two kids that were in the action scene for some reason in the swamp, the action when the Swamp Thing's there kicking ass, it's his movie. So the title is not misleading. Okay, next, the special effects and visuals. I can do this time. It's not a cartoon. Uh, Swamp Thing easily. The suit looks pretty good for a 1989 budget film. I like the swamp. You know, it's shot really well, and the effects that they use are fine. There's no CG. The effects in the Fantastic Four movie, yikes! It looks terrible. Like with the Human Torch looks like a video game cutscene from like the early '90s. The Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic's arms look like a toy. The Invisible Woman is just a fading effect. We've seen that in the back in the 1930s with Invisible Man, etc. It looks worse here. Say what you will about the 2005 movie, that effect the fading looks way better. And Johnny Storm looked much better when he's engulfed in flames. It looks much better. And I'm not talking about Fan Snore Stick. That's banned from this channel. But the effects are awful in the Fantastic Four movie. It's so low budget, so they don't have the budget that a movie like Blade did, or X-Men, or Spider-Man, or the first Fantastic Four movie they did theatrically that was released. It's just awful. Like the Return of the Swamp Thing, I think the practical effects still hold up for what they are, and even the ridiculous, cartoonish things in it, it still looks better. Like the electrical shocking and all that, and the mad scientist and all that, it just looks better to me anyway. And now, which one is the overall more fun movie to watch? Entertainment value. What do you think? A kind of slow, bland, forgettable movie from 1994 with that Marvel wants nobody to know about, or a over the top cheese fest from the 80s that's actually pretty fun to watch. It's a B movie. I see it as the Swamp Thing as a B movie, the sequel. The first one is more like a serious drama, like a not really a lot of action with Adrian Barbeau. But the sequel is ridiculous and it's fun to watch though. It's like you have a Saturday morning night and you don't have anything to watch, you can watch this on YouTube. I got to watch it. It was very fun. It's ridiculous. I like Heather Locklear more than the actress that played Sue Storm. She's fine, but I don't know her name. At least Locklear, I remember her in many shows and films. But overall, I think Return of the Swamp Thing wins this one. So DC gets another point. So that's 3-3. Marvel won with WandaVision. DC won with Return of the Swamp Thing. DC won with DC Superhero Girls. So that's 2 for DC and 1 for Marvel. Then Batman by Guy Gaslight. That's a fourth one. I think that's a third. Wait, 1 for Marvel, 1 for DC, another's for DC, another for DC. That's 3, and Big Hero 6 1. So that's 2, and this one, yeah. So it's 2-4. So that's pretty good. DC's doing pretty well, and I'm like, yeah. See, their earlier stuff is a lot less gritty and dark and colorless compared to stuff. At least Return of the Swamp Thing has color, and it's not hidden. The movie has its budget, and it doesn't hide what it is. Fantastic Four needed more work. That's why they didn't do a movie for like 11 years after that 1994 attempt. So I'd say DC wins this one. Tell me what you think about these films if you've seen them, and I will get to you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.